Good morning. Today we are going to create an animation using both Illustrator to draw and Photoshop to animate. Illustrator we'll draw our storyboard and then we'll transfer that into Photoshop for animation. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do is create a new artboard the size of the Instagram window, which is 1080 by 1080 pixels. Great. We want to make it RGB, and that creates our Instagram window. Now, I'm going to be making an isotype of a spaceship. It's a bit arbitrary, but this is just as an example. Perhaps this isotype will be helpful in the year 3000. I don't know when space travel will be available for civilians. But anyways, I'm going to first draw these two propellers, or jet engines. And the way I do that is by clicking Control on this shape. Make sure you are selecting the rounded rectangle tool. I'm going to create these two pill-like forms, right? And you can see it automatically does it for me. You will not have this luxury, so you'll have a different shape. The way you achieve that is by double-clicking on my canvas. You will most likely get something that looks like this. We don't want that, right? Because these corners are very small. So again, double-click. I'm going to make this corner radius 80. There we go. And I don't want my shape to be filled, so I'm going to change it to my stroke. Now, the way to increase the thickness of this is by going to Window and hitting the stroke. You should get the stroke palette, and you make it whatever thickness you want. We'll do 60 points for right now. I'm going to copy and paste, right? And it should be aligning itself. Another way to copy a shape is by clicking on my shape, hitting Option, and then dragging my shape. I'm hitting Shift so that it's locked on the X-axis. And I've created another propeller. The next part I'm going to draw is this main body of my ship, and I'm simply going to draw a square. Let's make it a little narrower. There we go. The next thing I'm going to do is create these wings using the pen tool. You should be quite familiar with the pen tool from our other lessons. And so the way you use a pen tool is you click the points that you want to create, and you make a shape. Wonderful. Now you can see this is at an angle. I don't want that to make a straight line. You could take the following steps. Hit Command R to get these rulers. Click and hold the ruler. And what this does is creates a guide for me to then use as a ruler. Wonderful. I'm going to center my design using the selection tool. Like so. I'm going to move this all the way here. And you can see these corners are rounded. It's a very easy thing to achieve. Go to my strokes palette and hit on rounded corners and rounded caps. Same thing here, just for the sake of consistency. Wonderful. Now, I'm going to adjust this to be more triangular. I'm going to go to my direct selection tool, and then I'm going to move this point down like so. I'm going to copy and paste this. I'm going to move it to the other side. I'm going to go to Object, Transform, Reflect, and then I'm going to transform it along this vertical axis. Now I'm going to align it to my other propeller, and we have half of our ship already completed. And then now we're going to draw this quarter here. I don't know spaceship terminology. You might, though. I'm going to center it by creating a vertical ruler like this. Now I have a guide for it. I'm going to draw this bridge here. And to create this triangular bit, I'm going to first make a square or rectangle shape. And with my direct select tool, I'm going to move these top 2 points to the left and right respectively. You can move the point 1 unit by 1 unit, or if you hit Shift, you can move it 10 times the amount. So I'm going to be careful here. I moved it 20 times. There we go. One more on the other side, and let's make it a bit more squat. And lastly, this, I don't know what it is, this third propeller. Now I'm going to erase this just for the sake of it. And I have my ship isotype. Like I said before, we are going to create our storyboard here. And so first, I'm going to think of what my animation is going to be, and I think my very simple animation will be to indicate that it's a moving ship. So the way I'm going to do that is by creating these lines that will be much thinner to indicate that they're not part of the ship. I'm going to create these rounded bits of exhaust. If you remember what Massimo Vignelli said about syntactic consistency, we want things to be aesthetically consistent. So instead of having square exhausts, we will have rounded ones, much like our ship. And there we go. And so we will create these exhaust bits at different lengths. Like so. We probably, I'll add a little bit more detail like this. Like that. And if it starts feeling asymmetrical, just add these bits to the other parts of the plane. Wonderful. Now, since this is a spaceship, perhaps I will want my ship to be set, in space. So I'm going to create a new layer, move it to the back, and I'm going to create a black square that is filled in black. Don't panic, you have not lost your animation. It's simply lost in the black. I'm going to select everything and I'm going to lock my background layer. And instead of black, I'm going to choose white. Wonderful. This is not part of an isotype, but I suppose we could indicate that it's in space by adding a few stars, at different sizes. There we go. Like this, but this is smaller. Like that. There we go. Maybe this is too small. Make it a little bigger. There we go. And you can fiddle with this an infinite amount. We'll just have it right there. All right, I'm done. The next thing you're going to want to do is create your timeline. So what we're going to do is create new artboards. So you want to go to the artboard tool, hit Option or Alt, and you're going to drag. You can see there's two arrows indicating that it's copying it. And I'm going to make a very simple 4-frame animation. And the only things that are going to change are my stars and my engine exhaust. The engine exhaust will start varying in size and position. Right. And I'm going to subtly change each of these. Around so that each item is different. Like that. Since it is a moving spaceship, these stars will technically move down. Like this. Right, by the third frame, they should almost all be gone. Like that, we're going to get rid of this. Actually, we'll move them slightly up. I'm sorry. Like that. We're going to delete that star, and again, I want to alter each of these. Right. There we go. Fantastic. Now I have my 4-frame animation. I'm going to go to Photoshop, I'm gonna go to File, New. I'm gonna create a 1080 pixel by 1080. Oops, that's wrong. File, New, 1080 by 1080. Fantastic. Now, the next step is very simple. You simply make sure that your animation is correct here. There we go. Right, so we can track the movement of that star. We whisked by the other two stars, so I'm just going to copy, paste, and make sure it's pixels that you've made. I'm going to go to the second frame, copy, paste, hit enter again. Third frame, copy, paste, enter, enter. And lastly, copy, paste, paste. Now, the way to animate this is very simple. Just go to Window, and I'm going to go to Timeline. Fantastic. I'm going to create a video timeline, and I'm going to go to the left corner and convert to frame by frame animation. Now, this is a bit cumbersome, but that's what we have as a program. First, I'm going to delete this layer. We don't need a layer there. And each frame here corresponds to a layer. So I'm going to create a new frame. And then I'm going to change the visibility of the layer. I'm going to create a third frame. And then fourth. Right? So each frame corresponds to if each of these layers is on or off. Right, so the next thing we're going to want to do is change the duration, because if we play it, it's indicating that the frame will last 5 seconds. That's not a real animation. So I'm going to select all of my frames by hitting Shift and then going to this arrow and creating it, changing the time to 0.1 seconds. If I see my animation, now I can see that it moves. I'm going to move this to make it loop forever. There we go. You can see that my spaceship is moving. But I'm noticing there's an error here. Frame 1 should have all the stars. So yes, make sure you're doing this correctly. Go to frame 1. The only layer visible is layer 1. Frame 2. Click on the visibility there. Frame 3, layer 3. Frame 4, layer 4. And I'm noticing that my ship is moving around, so I'll go back to layer 1. I'm going to create a guide. I'm going to hit frame 2, frame 3, frame 4. Frame 4 is not correct, so I'm going to go back to my Illustrator, copying that, and I'm going to paste it as pixel. And I'm going to make this bigger. I don't know why it's changing the size of it. Anyways. Oh, and this program is very silly, so I'm going to have to redo that again. frame 1, actually no, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4. Fantastic. I'm going to make this a bit shorter than my options, and I'm going to go to 0.06 seconds, and I'm going to make sure that it loops forever. Fantastic. Once you're done and you're happy with this, you're going to go to File, Export, Save for Web and Legacy. Make sure you are selecting GIF. These options don't matter much, so we're going to hit Save. I'm going to rename the GIF space demo. It's saved. The next thing I want to do is go to GIFy.com. Incidentally, here we will upload our GIF. So the way I do that is hit upload up on the top right corner, and I'm going to drag my file. I'm going to upload the GIF. Fantastic, and I'm going to download. Actually, I'm going to share on Instagram, right? And you enter your email. Go to your email, and it makes it into a video, which you can now save on your phone and upload to Instagram. Alrighty, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Again, whatever issue you might have, I'm here to answer it. Please do attach a full screenshot of your issue with a thorough description, and that helps me help you. Alright, thank you very much.